Hey YouTube, it's been a good minute and I am officially like 85% done with my house. As you can see, I have a new little background or whatever. I had to flip a couple of things over into different ways. And I actually had a couple of videos that I did do, except I had just recently bought a brand new laptop and everything, well, my first laptop, and it's Microsoft. And I'm not exactly familiar with how the whole Microsoft video recording and editing and movie making thing goes. And it really just, I botched it. The video didn't come out as clear as I wanted it to come out. It came out kind of fuzzy. So, so I was like, you know what, forget it. Let me just use the system that I'm very accustomed to and it works fine. I have no complaints, and that's my Apple. So, I'm sorry, she's just making all these little noises. She's trying to talk. Just a couple of quick things that recently just happened that I thought were very interesting. One being that I actually had a patient who had what we call a mummified fetus. And the strange thing about it is that I had seen a documentary on the Discovery Channel about mummified fetuses, and basically what it really is just that you have a fetus in utero and it dies. Most of the time our body just naturally aborts the dead fetus, and in some cases the fetus doesn't get aborted and it stays in there, causing infection, pain, and eventually you end up finding yourself in the emergency room and we remove the fetus ourselves. But in some rare cases, the fetus actually dies. There's no infection, there's no pain, there's no discomfort, and instead it just stays in the body and it becomes a part of the body and it actually mummifies, like sorry, like Egyptian type thing, like literally a mummy. And in her case, I'm not sure exactly how long she has had the fetus. That once we remove it, we'll be able to tell exactly how old it actually is. But the only reason she came to the hospital, she said she was having a lot of, epigastric pain, and she thought maybe it was, gas or maybe something she ate and it just wouldn't go away. And lo and behold, when I get the radiology report, that's what it said, mummified fetus. And I was like, are you joking? So I called her doctor like immediately, and I was like, listen, the radiology report says such and such and such. And she was like, what? So then she put another doctor on the case, and I told him, and he was like, wow, that's strange. So we got her into the operating room, removed it and everything. The thing is, I didn't go to work the next day or the day after, so I really couldn't follow up and see exactly, what they were going to do, whether it was what it said in the radiology report, or maybe the radiologist was just thinking that he saw something that he really didn't. But unfortunately, I didn't get to follow up with that. So, but definitely check it out on the Discovery Channel. I'm pretty sure it wasn't TLC, it was the Discovery Channel. And look up and just find out about mummified fetuses. It's very interesting. And the next thing that happened, of course, it was on my little IPP Fridays. Now, I think this case really has to do a lot with a person's personal morals or maybe their ethics or whatever you want to call it. But the patient actually has HIV positive, and he came in for that procedure. Now, everyone has a right to have whatever they want done. Just because you have HIV doesn't mean that you can't have sex anymore. You just have to have it protected so that you don't spread it to other people. But as far as in my personal opinion, I guess I personally would not have done the procedure for him because I don't have a guarantee that he's actually going to use it. I mean, obviously he's going to use his brand new equipment, but that he's going to use it properly and actually use protection like he's supposed to prevent spreading it to other people. So it would really make me think twice. It would really be a conflict of interest. I mean, I know I need my money, I got to get paid and everything, but at the same time, I don't want to be an accomplice to spreading HIV to other, unknowing, suspects. So I definitely would not have done it, but to each his own, and it was done. He's a very nice guy, and I'm just hoping and praying that he uses protection with his brand new toy that he has. And last but not least, like anyone who knows me, I'm trying to see something here. Yeah, okay. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very calm, pleasant person, very nice. I don't like to get upset. I hardly ever get upset. It takes a lot to really upset me, but I was at work and I was already having a very stressful day, and this lady just did something to me that just really irked my nerves. Come on now, you just a talking. The thing is, we all have a maximum of 8 patients. That day, it was me and 2 other nurses, we had 7. And from what we were told, there were 6 more patients who were to come in and everything like that. So that would mean that now we would have 8, each nurse getting 1. And then the charge nurse would unfortunately end up with 3 on her own. Now what happened is I had my doctors who came in back to back to back and saw the patients, and they were like, okay, this one can go. And next thing you know, 5 of my patients can actually go home, which will leave me with approximately 2 patients. And of course, I know that that's not fair. I'm not going to let my charge nurse, who I adore a lot, take on patients when I obviously can take a couple. So I don't mind. She went ahead and she gave me 2 more admissions, and I did all my discharges. Now, first of all, it's not easy to do discharges. Discharges, I can get someone out of the hospital within 5 minutes, but as far as when it comes to the paperwork, that takes some time. So it's not just, oh, the patient's gone, but I have paperwork that I have to do, and I have things that I have to take down. I have a chart that I have to rearrange everything and put everything in order and send it off. So it's very, it can take you a little bit of time, and especially if you have 5 back to back to back, and then you're trying to do this discharge, the patient's gone, but you're trying to finish up your paperwork, and you're getting another person who comes in, and that's paperwork that you have to do for them. So it's kind of like, all right. So I got 2, and I was like, fine. So now that makes me 4 patients. And I remember specifically during lunchtime, I was in the lounge with this nurse, and I was like, you know what, I have a lot of discharges that are going on or whatever, and there are 6 admissions, and I'm pretty sure that there's a good chance I might get all 6 of the admissions. And I was like, well, not 6, like 5 of them. And I was like, and that would be totally unfair, because that would actually make it a lot of patients during the day, and that's a lot of paperwork, and I'm not going to get out of here on time. And she was like, yeah, you're right, that'll be really horrible, and hopefully it won't happen. So now, no less than an hour later, she discharged one of her patients, which makes her 6, and they gave her 1 admission. I got 2, she got 1, which leaves 3 more patients who are coming, who eventually someone has to get. Do you know, this nurse got all upset, and she didn't even go through the chain of command to go to the charge nurse first. She went straight to the nurse manager, and she was like, oh, look what she's doing. She gave me an admission, and here, this nurse over here only has 4 patients, and she gave me an admission. Like, what's up with that? Why didn't she get the admission? I already have 6 patients, and she only has 4, and da-da-da-da. Now, mind you, she's saying all this in Spanish. I understand Spanish. I comprehend Spanish. When it comes time for me to actually speak it and express myself, that's where my problem comes in. So she's saying all this in Spanish, and I'm just standing there because I can overhear, because I was talking to the secretary at that time. And I just got so mad. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I know this lady did not just do this. We just got through talking in the lounge, and she was agreeing with me about how unfair it would be for me to get all the admissions, but she gets 1, and she's bitching and complaining and saying that I should get them all. And I was like, so basically you're just nothing but a hypocrite. So now I'm all upset, and I'm like, I can't believe I just went through a conversation with this lady and she just backstabbed me like that or whatever. But at the end of the day, she ended up getting the admission, and I only ended up getting just 1 more. So I actually ended up having 3 admissions, which was fine, because the fact is, if I were to count how many patients I would have had that day if I got all the admissions, it would have been damn near 13. And 13 is a lot. 13 is a lot of paperwork. Unfortunately, nursing has become a lot of paperwork. So I'm just like, what time was I expected to leave the hospital? I'm supposed to be gone at 7:30. I probably would have been there until 9:30 finishing up paperwork and stuff. Because when the patients come in, especially when they're coming from OR, which they were, they're complaining they have pain. You have to check in on them all the time and everything. So really, to do their admission and then to get everything in order, to get the medication from pharmacy and everything, it takes a while. So I was highly pissed off at her. Highly pissed off. And I was like, God forbid, next time the situation happens and you're the one stuck in that situation and the shoe is on your foot, I'm not going to give two shits about it. And I'm going to do you just exactly the same way that you did me. Because that's just wrong. That is just wrong. She pissed me off, literally. Just talking about it still pisses me off. Backstabbing.